Hello and good day, everyone. Welcome to a second episode of PNT Cinema Talk. Yesterday's launch went alright for what it was. Still got a little technical difficulties to work out as I go along the way, but I'm happy about it nonetheless. I'm finally here and going to be here for the next foreseeable future. I hope a lot of you come along for the ride. There's a little less in the movie news today than there was yesterday, so instead of aiming for a 20-minute show that will end up with me having nothing to talk about, today's show may be a little bit shorter, but I'm just going to talk about what I feel is relevant to me today in the movie news, and we'll see how that goes. I'm not going to waste everyone's time making it long just for the sake of making it long. That's not what I want to be about at all. So whatever there is to talk about, that's what I'm going to talk about. So let's go on to topic number one. Okay, as a lot of you may know, that the Deadpool movie is finally going to be made, and it is going to star Ryan Reynolds. And he had something to say about this week as well, and I'm going to read it word for word. So he says, quote, "We've got a director that understands that world, and writers with a slavish devotion to the canon of that character. That's the most important aspect. It's made in a way even the most critical of fanboys could embrace. Well, that's the hope." Alright, well that sounds pretty promising, especially coming from Ryan Reynolds. And, think whatever you want about Ryan Reynolds, I think the guy's a genius. He hasn't always picked the best movies. He was Green Lantern, and despite that movie's failure, I thought he was awesome in that role. It was the movie that was bad, not him. I think if you're a fan of Deadpool, you should be very happy about this news. I mean, Ryan Reynolds has been waving the flag for this movie for a long time, ever since Wolverine Origins, and that was horrible. Or X-Men Origins Wolverine, I guess is the technical title. And a lot of people hated what happened to Deadpool in that movie. They took away his mouth, and, if you're taking away the merc with the mouth's mouth, you do not understand the character. But thankfully, the people over at Fox have a better understanding of their X-Men properties. Clearly, after bringing Bryan Singer back and knocking it out of the park with X-Men Days of Future Past, Fox is in a position where they actually are understanding what the fans want, and they can make better movies for us. And some of you may be complaining, well, I just wish it'd all go back to Marvel Studios. And I can understand that. It'd be nice to have them all under one big family. But Disney and Marvel Studios can only make so many movies. As it is, they're getting ready to start pumping out 2 to 3 of them a year. They don't have time to do X-Men movies, and I still want to see X-Men movies. Let Fox do it. Let Fox do Deadpool. Let Fox do Fantastic Four. But if it sucks, then it can go back to Marvel. It's a win-win either way. Marvel doesn't need X-Men right now. They're making quite a bit of money on their own without them. Now, the director that Ryan Reynolds is talking about, his name is Tim Miller, and aside from a couple of short films, he has never directed a major motion picture before. So that could make some of us worried, some of us, well, whatever, it's Deadpool, there's nowhere to go but up, considering what happened to the last movie he appeared in. But Tim Miller does have a decent amount of experience in the visual effects field for both video games and motion pictures. So I'm sure this movie is going to look really great for a low budget. It's and that's the thing, man. With technology getting better and better every day, you can put out these high caliber movies for less money. So are you guys Deadpool fans? Are you excited about this movie coming out? I'd love to hear what you think. Please comment in the section below, and I'll be glad to hear what everyone's opinion is, because I'm just telling you my opinion, but movies affect everyone differently, and I want to know what your opinion is. So please share it with me if you feel like it. Okay, next up in today's news that I want to talk about is the Pixels trailer finally dropped. And boy, let me tell you, I'm actually kind of excited for this. And yeah, I know, it stars Adam Sandler and Kevin James. Usually that's what you do to put the nail in the coffin of your movie. However, it is directed by Chris Columbus, and that fact alone is what's driving me and my excitement for this film. Chris Columbus has directed a lot of great movies that you've all probably watched and loved. Like both the first 2 Home Alone movies. He did the first 2 Harry Potter movies. He also did Mrs. Doubtfire and the first Percy Jackson. And he's also a great writer. Like, he wrote the screenplays for the original Goonies and the original Gremlins. Those two movies were awesome. So yeah, Chris Columbus being the captain of the ship of this movie fills me with a lot of confidence. And I get it. Adam Sandler has not been at his best. But I used to be quite a huge fan of Adam Sandler back in the day. Back when he was on Saturday Night Live. Back when he was putting out movies like Happy Gilmore, The Wedding Singer, Big Daddy, that's it, yeah. Movies like that really affected me, and they were truly funny. I loved them. And if he can get back to that, that would be great. And, from the trailers, he's talking normal. He's not talking in no stupid little Waterboy voice. So that's a plus. And even the Waterboy for its time was funny. Maybe now not so much. It's kind of dated now. But I digress. Adam Sandler has it in him. Especially if you've seen his dramatic roles. Like Punch Drunk Love and Reign Over Me, I think it was called. That 9/11 movie that he did. He's got dramatic chops. He really does. Granted, this movie isn't a drama. Pixels is going to be clearly an action comedy. It's about space aliens who received a message from Earth back in the 80s that showed all these 80s video game characters, and they attack the planet, using those characters as enemies. So Pac-Man's a bad guy, Donkey Kong's a bad guy, we got like Space Invaders type things flying through the air, and it's great. And Kevin James, you can like him or hate him, but on the other hand, Peter Dinklage is also in this movie. I love Peter Dinklage. I met the guy. I don't think he liked me too much, and we can agree to disagree on the reasons, but that doesn't matter. Who he is as a person, I don't really care. All I care about is when he shows up on set, the guy can deliver. He is great at what he does, and having Peter Dinklage in here, and the guy is funny. He is genuinely funny. So I think he's going to deliver a lot of laughs for this movie, and I hope to God that it does well, because Sandler can use a hit. I'd like to see a world where he makes a comeback and is actually good again. Maybe this is step one. Let's keep our fingers crossed for that. What do you think about Pixels? Are you happy to see it? Are you going to just wait for video, or are you just going to obtain it some other way at a later time? I'm curious to hear what you think. Please let me know in the comments section below. Alright, so there's been a lot of talk about the new Crow reboot that's happening, and I've got a lot of mixed feelings about that myself, because the original Crow is a masterpiece. It's like, I don't mind reboots and remakes. I think, hey, if they remake something and it's good, great, and if it's bad, oh well, I still have the original. But this is different. Brandon Lee gave his life for this movie, so there's always going to be that attached to that film. Brandon Lee is the Crow. He gave more to that role than any other actor ever will, because all these other actors are actually going to survive the filming process of it. And I know that's not fair to say. It was a horrible tragedy back in the day when Brandon Lee did lose his life on set of that film. And it was horrible, but it's his franchise. He was awesome in that role. It could have been something with 3 or 4 sequels with him had it have succeeded, but I'm getting off track. The actual news of the day is that they have recasted the Crow. So it'll be Jack Houston of Boardwalk Empire who's going to be playing the Crow, and Eric Draven. Which is fine, whatever. But he's just the 4th or 5th actor that's been attached to this. This movie doesn't even have a director yet, and I think that's a bit more important before casting it. I can see if he had already established himself in that role, and if it was a sequel and the director was coming on, it's okay, well, this guy is the Crow. But this is the first film in a rebooted franchise. You can't cast it and then look for a director. No. You need to get your director on board. They've had several directors, and one of them just walked off set on the very first day of shooting because of all the drama that has surrounded this film. It's lost people who are in the lead role, such as it was Luke Evans was once suggested for it. Tom Hiddleston, Loki, could you imagine? That would have been awesome. He was once rumored to be it. Didn't happen. People seem interested up until they hear what's actually going on with it. And that worries me. Because The Crow was great. It was great. It was like many people's intro to gothic culture and such, and it had a great soundtrack. No matter what they do with the remake, it's not going to have as great as a soundtrack as the original. Are you kidding me? But whatever, I digress. I, at this point, just do not care about this film. Maybe, down the road when they actually release a trailer for it and I can get a feel for it, maybe my mind will be changed. I'm sure this guy's a great actor, but without a director, it doesn't matter how good an actor you are, because you're at the mercy of whatever idiot is behind the camera telling you what to do. So, don't get an idiot to direct this movie, guys. Take care of this property. Maybe we can see The Crow come back, but I'm not too excited about it right now. What do you think? Do you guys want to see it? I really don't. But minds can be changed. We'll wait and see what happens. Alright, and that brings us to our last bit of news for the day, and that is more Beauty and the Beast news. Apparently they've also casted 2 more characters. Emma Thompson will be playing Mrs. Potts, which on paper sounds good. I mean, I'm sure they're going to show her as a human before they CGI her into the actual tea kettle, which I assume she'll be voicing. But that's a good casting. I have nothing against it. That sounds great. This movie's starting to have a great lineup of cast, so I'm in. And they also casted actor Kevin Kline as Belle's father. That too sounds okay. I mean, I know that Kevin Kline is a great actor. He can do it. He's very underrated. A lot of people don't see a lot of his work, but it's not that bad. My problem with it, and it's a stupid problem, but you'll probably see it, you'll probably understand why in a moment. Okay. The original Beauty and the Beast animated film by Disney that this live action was based on, that movie was great. It was nominated, it was the first animated feature ever to be nominated for Best Picture of the Year at the Oscars. I mean, it was partially why the animated category got its own category, because of that movie. And anyway, if you remember that movie, Belle's father was quite a big, fat man, such as myself, And I get it, the fat people, hey, we ain't pretty, alright? We know it. We understand it. But in the cartoon, her father was a hefty gentleman, and, it would be nice to see, some bigger actors get a chance, and I mean bigger as in large, get a chance to show that they can act as well. I mean, I know, to assume that just because someone's big they can't act, and I'm not saying give them their own movie, this is a supporting character, it's like, no, let's make everything skinny, and I mean, hey, I get it, Kevin Kline is talented, but he just doesn't look like Belle's father to me, so unless you're gonna put on some makeup and put on a fat suit of some sort to at least mimic the character, I mean, that's one option, but on the other hand, why are you wasting money on a fat suit when you can just get an overweight gentleman actor to go in and just knock the role out of the park? That's just my opinion on the matter. I'm sure Kevin Kline is going to do great, because he always does great. But, there is that one issue that as a large man, I have to take a issue with, let's say. But yeah, I guess that's it for today, guys. Not much in the news right now. I'm going to end the show for today and go right back to searching the internet to see what else is happening for the next show that I do. So please like, share, subscribe if you feel like it. Leave comments. Thank you for watching. I hope you continue to watch, and you have yourselves a great day.